Hello grade 8s and welcome back to WorksheetCloud. This is grade 8 English and I'm Mrs. Goslet for those of you who don't know me. And if you have a question during the lesson, if you're not sure about something or you just want clarity, please just pop us an email and we'll help you understand better or just give us some feedback. Welcome back and I'm glad to have you here. We're going to look at Act 1, Scene 1 of Romeo and Juliet today. I love Romeo and Juliet. If you watched the previous Romeo and Juliet introduction video, then you'll see I'm quite passionate about Shakespeare, and I gave you a little bit of insight into why we should be doing Shakespeare. I'm going to touch a little bit on theatre terms, and I've also spelled theatre wrong. I do apologize. It should be R-E. Theatre terms and center. Center is also R-E. That is an Americanism. In America, they spell theatre E-R and they spell center E-R. So that's just a tip. Look at us learning. So tragedy, that's a narrative about a serious and important action that ends unhappily, usually with the death of the main characters, which that is exactly what happens in Romeo and Juliet. Then a monologue is a long, uninterrupted speech given by one character on stage to everyone. A soliloquy is a long, uninterrupted speech given by one character alone on stage, inaudible to other characters. An aside is a short speech given by one character. Traditionally, the other characters cannot hear. So this will normally, aside will normally be in brackets. It will say Romeo's name and then it will be aside into whoever he's talking to. And that's just so that the other characters on stage don't hear what he's saying, or if we want to know his thoughts. Okay, so the summary of Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 1, this is what happens. The play opens with two servants from the house of Capulet talking about their hatred of the Montagues. So we get a real understanding that it's still prevalent, that it's not just this fight that used to or happened a long time ago, but they're actually continually fighting. So a fight breaks out. Benvolio tries to stop the fight, but when Tybalt arrives, things get worse. The fight is eventually stopped when Prince stops everyone. He is so angry because they've been fighting all the time. He proclaims, if there is another fight, Montague and Capulet shall pay the forfeit for it with their lives. So it's important to note that I told you that Romeo gets banished and he has to go to Mantua. So the prince is saying, if you start a fight, you're going to die. Well, you're going to be executed, because he is tired of this, but he's trying to put his foot down for them to stop fighting. But this doesn't stop them. But generally, Romeo is not the one who starts the fight, but Tybalt does cause a lot of nonsense, and then Romeo has to step in, and that's where he ends up killing Tybalt. And that's why, because he didn't start the fight, but he did kill Tybalt, he is banished. And if he is caught, or if the prince finds out that he's still in Verona, they will execute him, they will kill him. Everyone departs, leaving Lord and Lady Montague talking to Benvolio about their son Romeo, who has been missing all day. Benvolio promises to find out where Romeo has been and what's upsetting him. So he's upset because he's in love with Rosaline. Romeo reveals to Benvolio that he is in love with Rosaline, but she doesn't love him in return. So we meet him and he actually is in love with someone else. Now the fight is important. Okay, I know I've got it here as in like a fight breaks out. I've got it step by step. The prince orders, that's what's going to happen. He threatens to sentence them to death if they do not obey. And of course they're not going to obey. We learn that Romeo is lovesick and we actually never meet her. Then remember we talk about themes. So there's this conflict, fate and destiny, there's a generation gap, courtly love, order and disorder, role of woman. So the theme of conflict, servants of the feuding households pick a fight with each other in public. So these are all the times that there's conflict in the scene. They are easily enraged if they think they have been insulted and quick to start a fight. Notice how the servants are fueled by their master's feud. So they fight against one another just because their masters have this age-long feud. Benvolio, who is on the Montague side, tries to stop the fight. Lord Capulet and Lord Montague arrive and draw their swords. Before the lords can act, the prince arrives. He threatens to execute anyone who breaks the peace again. So he had hoped that if he threatened and if he had this whole execution or, this threat, that they would not fight again. But their hatred is so deep. The ancient grudge between House Montague and Capulet is the central conflict in this play. So that is the theme, conflict. Remember, William Shakespeare wants to highlight that if there wasn't this conflict, we wouldn't have this tragedy. There's order and disorder. So note how the word beasts in line 79, I think I've got a little extract for you a bit later, suggests that the Montagues and Capulets are ruled by irrational passion rather than reason. I mean, it's so reasonable to go, this is not worth fighting and someone getting hurt or killed. But they don't care. They're just like, let's carry on and cause chaos. Mistempered suggests that they are not in control of themselves. When you get super angry and you just can't, you just react and you just lash out, that's the type of anger they feel. Control and order have been destroyed by this irrational passion and anger. Their hatred requires the intervention of a government authority, who is the prince, representing justice and order. So he's trying to separate and try to fix symbols. Okay, so we will always focus on these. I have mentioned them before: light and dark, religion, dreams, and stars. So the light and dark symbols, we're going to look at it. Sun, gold, and east. Throughout the play, you will encounter references to light and seeing. Keep an eye out for when they occur and who or what they're closely connected. Numerous references to the sun and night occur throughout the play. Normally Shakespeare likes to use weather as a bad omen. So, if it's raining, if it's storming, if it's windy, or if it's just really bad weather, that's normally something bad is going to happen. So the love between Romeo and Juliet can be compared to light that exists in the darkness of hatred around them. So they are the light, and the feud and the conflict and all the hatred is the darkness. Then here are our characters. Remember, you must know your characters. You can't just guess, oh, I think Mercutio is related to Juliet, or is Mercutio related to Romeo? Now I can't remember. You have to know. So Romeo, Juliet, Mercutio, Benvolio, Paris. I mean, who's Paris? Paris and Juliet are betrothed. They must get married. Tybalt, the nurse, and Friar Lawrence. This was the new movie I was talking about. This is the actor. He's in the new movie, so if you want to check it out. So we're going to look at the character Romeo. So we're introduced to Romeo, and he doesn't come across as very happy. In the beginning, he's lovesick and sad, and I'm sure all of us know what it feels like to like somebody and them not like us back. It's not great. It's not a nice feeling, so that's what he's feeling, deep sadness. And already a lot of us can relate to him. I can relate to him. We all, well, I can't say we all, but we can relate to that. Maybe you were the person who had the person liking you and you weren't too keen, or you didn't like them back. Benvolio sets out to find the cause of Romeo's sadness. He expresses that he is conflicted by unrequited love and has been struck by Cupid's bow. So he is in love. Note that he never mentions the girl's name. Her name's Rosaline. And this suggests that he is more in love with the idea of being in love than with the girl herself. He is attracted to her physically, but complains about her chastity or vow to remain a virgin. Then Benvolio, that's Romeo's cousin. He is the most calm and the least quick-witted. On a few occasions, he tries to keep the peace rather than fight. Benvolio expresses concern regarding Romeo's sadness. So he's a genuine good friend and cousin. He suggests that Romeo should try to forget the girl by looking at other girls. This is just an example. Oh, okay. So this is the Shakespeare one and this is the translation. I don't know why they do that. It's quite interesting. So here this would have, remember this is a play. So when you read it, this is what the actor Samson would say, and then Gregory speaks. So there'll be stage directions like enter Samson and Gregory. So many a times the learners don't understand why they do it like this, but because Shakespeare wrote the play like this and then actors performed it on a stage. Okay, so this is just an example just to show you how you would read it in class. I love to get characters, so I always give my learners opportunity. Everyone wants to play Romeo and Juliet, of course, but then we fight over that, and then if we get our Romeo, we get our Juliet, then we go through all the characters, and you will be that character for the rest of the year. So we read the book usually in term 2 or term 3, and then when you see your name, you will read your part. And then we also have understudies. So if someone's absent, like Romeo and Juliet, because they're the main character, I usually tell them they're not allowed to be absent. But yeah, we'll just get another learner in the class to read it. So it's really fun, and the learners really enjoy becoming a character, or yeah, everyone wants to be the lead. But yeah, I enjoy that. We settle disputes. I call it Ching Chong Cha. My learners say it's not that, ma'am. It's called rock, paper, scissors. So that settles any dispute, and it's a best of 3 if we can't find a winner. Before you go, I'd like to just recap about what we learned. So we did a little bit of Act 1, Scene 1. We've looked at the prologue, what happens before, and usually we'll read through the play, you'll get a general understanding of what the plot's about, and then it's always important to answer questions, because when you answer questions, you actually discover more about the character or more about the actual scene, because sometimes just reading it, you miss out certain pieces of information. A good thing to do when your teacher does teach you Shakespeare is when they are explaining to you terms you might not understand, or they might say, look, what theme is this? And then you see, oh, this is light and dark. So here they're having a fight, and this is all the hatred because of the feud. Then you can just make a small note in pencil and write theme, darkness or dark, and then when Romeo and Juliet meet and they love each other, that can be the light that brings joy and happiness to them. But I just wanted to quickly, before we go, I just wanted to show you something in the beginning. Sorry. Yeah, this is the symbols, the light and the dark. But with the themes as well, order and disorder. So in a test or exam, they could ask you to explain it generally, and then you would talk about how the Capulets and the Montagues just have this passion and hatred and anger, so there's this disorder. Whereas I would say the character Benvolio, if you look at it, let's just go to him quickly. Sorry. Benvolio, if you look here, he prefers the peace. He tries to stop the fight. And so you could almost argue or make a statement that, you know, although there's this disorder and chaos, Benvolio tries to bring the peace or bring the order. You can also talk about, let's just go to, he's not there, the prince. I'll just show you quickly. So here, the prince. So the prince had to intervene to try and create order, because where there's disorder, he's trying to create this pattern of, you know, order and intervention to represent the justice. So the prince is there to help, although it's not the best way, because he's trying to include violence with violence. Maybe they should have actually just got the Friar Lawrence as a mediator, sat everyone down and try to work out their differences. I doubt that would have worked, because can you imagine putting all of the Capulets and Montagues in the same place? I mean, even the servants are fighting, so you can imagine. But yeah, so there was no real hope there. Okay, so we are done for today. I hope that you learned something, and there's an activity for you to do afterwards. And again, if you have a question, please email us at grade8@worksheetcloud.com. We'd love to hear from you. Then our motivational, inspirational quote of the day. This is quite funny because I've never really followed basketball. I've known about it, but this is Michael Jordan. Everyone knows him. I knew him. I just knew he was great. But there's a series on Netflix about how he's retiring, and it's called The Last Dance, and my husband was really into it and thoroughly enjoying it, and I would kind of like look up every now and then, and I loved it. He is so talented, driven, exceptional. He's got a God-given talent to put that basket wherever he is. He puts that ball in the net. It is incredible. He is just, and everyone respects him, and he's kind of scary, I think, when you play in a team with him, because if you don't give your best, or if you mess up, he will probably look at you and just go, what are you doing? But oh, it's beautiful to watch. So let's look at our motivational quote for the day. Obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it. Go through it or work around it. And he just, in his mind was so strong. He just knew he was going to win a game. He just knew he was going to put that ball in that net. And I think there is a line between he's very confident, he's confident in his ability, and he's brilliant. He is absolutely inspirational, and now I understand all the hype and everything. I really hope you enjoyed the lesson, grade 8s, and that you learned something. Thank you so much for watching. This lesson was brought to you by WorksheetCloud. Have a wonderful day. I'm Mrs. Goslet, and I'll be seeing you soon. Goodbye!